Welcome to the thrilling post-fight coverage of UFC 297, where the spotlight is on the main and co-main events that had fans on the edge of their seats. In the women's bantamweight title clash, Raquel Pennington faced off against Mayra Bueno Silva, with some pre-fight tension adding spice to the mix. This highly anticipated matchup was followed by the main event between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. Now let's dive into the riveting action. The first title fight on the UFC 297 card featured a women's bantamweight collision between Raquel Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva. Pennington and Silva had a little bit of beef going into this one. Silva insisted that Pennington is a boring fighter and puts fans to sleep. It was in response to Raquel taking exception to Silva, saying no one wanted to see their title battle. Let's take a closer look at the keys to victory for each woman. Raquel Pennington had a record of 15 wins and 8 losses. She secured notable victories over Miesha Tate, Irene Aldana, Ketlin Vieira, Jessica Andrade, and Aspen Ladd, but faced setbacks against Amanda Nunes, Germaine de Randamie, Holly Holm, Kat Zingano, and Jessica Andrade. Pennington relied on her consistent performance, using her boxing fundamentals and volume to secure wins in the competitive 135-pound division. In her previous bout, she had a 25-minute window to leverage her extensive experience against Mayra Bueno Silva, a developing striker with a grappling background. Mayra Bueno Silva, with a record of 10 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, had notable wins over Holly Holm, Lena Landsberg, Jillian Robertson, and Stephanie Egger. She suffered losses to Mano Fiorot and Marina Moroz. Bueno Silva was known for her grappling, but her striking had been gaining prominence. In her strategy against Pennington, she aimed to target the lead leg with kicks, disrupting Pennington's ability to jab and build combinations. Bueno Silva, nicknamed Shitara, possessed power and planned to capitalize on it by forcing Pennington to fight defensively. The key for Bueno Silva was to take away Pennington's jab and advance with powerful shots, potentially putting Pennington on the back foot. During the fight, Pennington looked to blitz Silva early. Silva landed elbows on Pennington, followed by a knee to the body. Pennington found herself on the mat. Silva moved towards the back of Raquel. Pennington managed to stand up near the fence, with Silva backpacking her. Silva dragged Pennington back down near the end of round 1. Early in round 2, Pennington looked to heed the advice of her corner and tried to keep things on the feet. Silva pushed her opponent to the fence in the clinch. Pennington reversed position as her corner urged her to break free. Pennington looked to box out, but Silva eventually found her way back into a clinch. A clean right hand followed by a jab was there for Raquel. Once again, the two were in the clinch, but Pennington did land an uppercut. Silva landed an uppercut of her own. Silva once again found the back of her opponent and went for a choke. Pennington was able to avoid danger and made it to round 3. Round 3 saw clinch action against the fence once again. Raquel had Silva's back against the fence. A hard elbow landed for Silva, followed by a knee to the body. Pennington had her own knees to the body. Some hard elbows connected for Silva, who went for a takedown, but Pennington wound up in top control. Silva looked quite tired. Boos rained down following the horn. Pennington stepped on the gas in round 4, sensing that her opponent had emptied out her gas tank. The two traded position advantage, and referee Jerin Villel had a long leash, letting the grappling play out. Silva locked up a choke, but Pennington got out of it and was in top control. Silva went for a spinning back fist, but nothing doing. Pennington continued pressuring with strikes and was in top control when her opponent went for a knee bar. Pennington secured an arm triangle, and Silva gave a thumbs up. The fight went the distance, and fans in attendance were none too pleased with the efforts of Pennington and Silva. In the end, the judges scored the night for Raquel Pennington. She is the new UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. Now, nearly 6 years after suffering a demoralizing defeat to Amanda Nunes in her first UFC title appearance, Raquel Pennington has finally climbed to the top of the mountain. Meanwhile, the main event between Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis was action-packed. Strickland looked phenomenal in the first 2 rounds because of his jab, but he slowed down in the latter rounds, which du Plessis capitalized on. Dricus du Plessis delivered on his promise to become middleweight champion following a brutal 5-round war with Sean Strickland to cap off UFC 297 on Saturday night from Canada. Mixing together takedowns with a smart strategy on the feet, du Plessis actually put the pressure on the always aggressive Strickland during many of the biggest exchanges in the fight. He opened a pair of cuts that had blood pouring down Strickland's face, with du Plessis also doing his best not to let a jab chew him up round after round. It was a razor-close contest through all 25 minutes, but ultimately 2 judges scored the fight, 48-47 for du Plessis, with the third official going 48-47 for Strickland. That was still enough for du Plessis to get the nod by split decision as he became the new champion, ending Strickland's brief reign atop the 185-pound division. Du Plessis said about his performance that, "I honestly thought with the takedowns, I made sure on every round. I could feel it was a close fight. I felt that he gets up really well. I felt the first 3 rounds was give and take, but those last 2 rounds, I know. I was there for rounds 4 and 5. Who says this guy's not a 5-round fighter? He has a super strong jab. It feels like somebody hits you with a rock. It was imperative that I make him go backwards. If I'm pressuring with this physique, I promise you're gonna get tired. Sean Strickland, you said to the death, I try to kill you in here tonight. Didn't quite get there, but you're one hell of a man. Thank you for bringing the best out of me. It was an honor sharing the cage with you. At the start of the fight, Strickland stuck to the game plan with a lead jab that helped him win the belt as he checked kicks from the challenger and then just marched forward on Du Plessis. Strickland also used a front kick to the gut that kept Du Plessis at a distance. While Du Plessis was loading up with his punches, Strickland's death by 1,000 cut style never wavered as he kept stabbing away with a lead left and then following with a right hand behind it. As he kept looking for a way to get inside, Du Plessis began digging to the body and then going back up to the top of the head, which allowed him to open a cut on the right side of Strickland's face. He also managed another takedown, but Strickland scrambled free to reset in the center of the cage. As the fighters retreated to their corners at the end of the second round, Du Plessis had significant swelling starting to form over his left eye as a result of the constant jabs coming at him from Strickland. That didn't deter him from moving forward and getting more aggressive with his offensive output coming at Strickland. The only problem was Du Plessis was missing far more than he was landing on target, with Strickland still sticking that same repetitive jab in his face. As the fourth round got started, Du Plessis really started to apply the pressure, winning a huge overhand punch at Strickland on several occasions. During one exchange, Du Plessis managed to connect with a well-timed inside elbow that opened another cut on Strickland's head, with blood immediately running down his eyes. Strickland continuously tried to wipe away the blood, and it was clear his vision was impaired. That led to a takedown from Du Plessis as he kept varying his attacks and never giving Strickland a moment to breathe. As Strickland prepared to come out for the fifth and final round, his head coach Eric Nixick implored him to give everything left in the tank because the fight was starting to slip away. The motivational speech paid off, with Strickland coming out more active, sticking that jab back in Du Plessis' face, and then stuffing the takedowns coming back at him. Strickland also connected with two stiff right hands behind his jab that clubbed Du Plessis on the side of his head. The American really began pouring it on with time running out as he continued throwing bombs, with Du Plessis doing the exact same and never giving an inch. It was an exhilarating finish to a back and forth battle over 5 rounds. The scorecards could have easily gone either way, but it was Du Plessis who got the nod, with Strickland offering his congratulations in hopes that they could run it back one day soon. Strickland said that, I called it from day one, it was gonna be a war. Hats off to the new champ. I'm salty and gonna say that I won, but that maybe I'm being selfish. Let's run it back. Congrats, champ. You're the man. It remains to be seen if the rematch might happen, but for now, it appears Du Plessis is ready to reignite a rivalry that was supposed to serve as his title fight last year. After getting his hand raised, Dricus Du Plessis called out former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya. It's unclear when Adesanya plans to return from his time away, but Dana White didn't count out the possibility of Du Plessis and Adesanya headlining UFC 300 on April 13th. Given the bad blood between these two, it might be an easy day of matchmaking at the UFC, with Du Plessis ready to fight Adesanya sooner rather than later, and perhaps Strickland will be waiting in the wings. That wraps up our post-fight coverage of UFC 297. We witnessed a new women's bantamweight champion in Raquel Pennington, who outlasted Maeda Bueno Silva in a grueling 5-round war. Pennington showed her toughness and experience, overcoming Silva's power and grappling. She also silenced Silva's trash talk, proving that she is not a boring fighter. Pennington now joins the elite group of women who have held UFC gold, and she will likely face some tough challengers in the future. In the main event, Du Plessis became the new UFC middleweight champion with a split decision victory. We hope you enjoyed our post-fight coverage of UFC 297, and we thank you for tuning in.